Welcome to Whiskey Balls.
I'm Daniel.
Rex.
This is a gift from
a bottle.
magnificent bastard Michael House.
Michael, how's you magnificent bastard?
Is it depressing that I looked at his name
Kentucky
and thought about the correct way to pronounce it for a good 10 seconds before I was like, it's just House.
Yeah, H-O-U-S-E.
Yeah, but I'm so used to weird names.
House.
I'm like,
Michael House.
It's like saying a word over and over until it sounds wrong.
Kentucky Walker Fine Whiskey.
Yeah, so...
Classic oak cask. It's got an oak cask.
That's unique.
You're going classic with the oak cask.
So there's this guy in Miraloma, California. He's got a business where they do vodka, whiskey, bourbon, brandy, tequila. They bottle for things.
Making?
Not usually. It's almost all sourced.
Okay.
And then maybe they're blending things. It's like I think they did the Screwball.
They did Screwball?
Peanut butter or whatever.
That was a huge release.
Yeah.
It was a giant release.
But they didn't invent it. They're the ones who are bottling it, and so that you can meet the founders. We invented this,
right.
But the bottle says made at Miraloma, right? So they're outsourcing the production of it.
Okay.
So I think this is just a sourced Kentucky, but we don't even know if it's Kentucky. It's just called Kentucky Walker. It doesn't actually say anywhere on here where it was distilled.
It's a classic oak barrel.
But it does have a classic oak barrel. Bottled by Kentucky Walker. So if you have the name of your company as Kentucky Walker, you can put Kentucky on the bottle.
That's pretty funny.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be Kentucky whiskey. Although I would argue that's extremely misleading. It could be Kentucky bourbon, though.
Okay, so from legend long ago, Kentucky Walker continues to use the same traditional distilling process.
So distilling.
And same high quality ingredients.
That's good.
Our whiskey is aged in charred New Oak barrels
so
for 24
bourbon.
months, so 2 years old,
Yeah.
to give it the genuine character that makes Kentucky Walker one of the best bourbon whiskeys. You put your nose in there. It is a very classic, not a ton of maturation on there.
I don't know. I'm not entirely certain it's Kentucky.
I get that classic.
It's not craft.
No, it's not craft. That classic. There is a version of honey that I always equate to, okay, that's the Kentucky style version of bourbon. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull this from Kentucky. If they made it themselves, then okay, they know exactly the target they're aiming for, and that is that very familiar Kentucky classic
And it is
bourbon.
paper thin.
Yeah, it's pretty thin. What are we like an 40%, 80 proof?
Yeah, I wonder. So I'm gonna get the beam.
There's nothing off-putting about it.
No.
But it's low-proofed, and it's very, very traditional.
What's weird is that beam on the nose just reminded me of suntan.
Whatever you poured has a bit. It's similar. A bit more of a peanut character in what was that? Jim Beam.
Jim Beam, and more cinnamon if you live in there a little bit.
Oh yeah, a little bit. There's actually more coming out of that nose of the white label. And that's not known to be a tremendously potent whiskey.
Oh, that Kentucky tastes better than I thought it would based on the nose. It's just this kind of soft, creamy, slightly wood note, vanilla.
Yeah, it was proofed a little bit lower than I think it really wants to be living at. I think it probably wants to be closer to the high 40% ABV.
I hope that's under $20 a bottle.
Close to 15. And the finish is non-existent.
Yeah,
it's gone.
There's just water.
It's gone. Got a bit more color on the white label.
It actually tastes a little like I was drinking a whiskey on the rocks.
Yeah,
and the water was my aftertaste.
I was about to say, it's not cold, obviously, but the most prominent classic bourbon flavors, those are recognizable, but it does come across as a little bit more watered down than you would want.
Yeah.
I have had this flavor so many times with a big old ice cube in the middle.
Well, and remember all of the budget Kentucky Traveler Gentleman Tavern with a Kentucky hat bottles that we did. It's in that same vein.
Let me put it this way. Going toe-to-toe with the white label, the white label's got, comparatively, a nice amount of body and character. And flavor, a little spice in there.
More depth.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
White label that.
That takes the day.
Sorry.
But again, there's no flaws. It's
just boring.
There's no faults. It is boring, but I think if people aren't nerding out about whiskey, maybe try that. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I expect.
If that's your bourbon Coke or your bourbon Rock, sure.
The Whiskey Shaman, love and light whiskey to you all. One day we will look back and say, remember when everyone was MGP?
Speaking of. Yeah.
I hope that some more wholesale whiskey distillers like Gulf Coast pop up so the little guys can get some juice.
Here's my theory. In the next 2 to 3 years,
Yes.
we're going to see an explosion in single malt.
No, we've talked about that.
American,
That's the
but-
hope. That's the hope. You think it's a theory? That's my hope.
No. I think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I think in the next 5 to 7 years,
Yeah.
we're going to see a renewed explosion in the availability of sourced Kentucky and sourced Tennessee, because those guys are just jamming up production.
Okay.
And that's why you can't get New Oak barrels.
Wow.
And they're about to just fill a shit ton of stuff. And I think they're overestimating the market share for their own brands. But I think there's about to be a point where it's like, hey, you don't need MGP. You can get Kentucky coming out your ears. Or you want Tennessee. It's even easier to get now than it ever was before. But that's going to be when barrels start reaching between 5 and 8 years old, when they would start pulling.
Right.
And they realize they have way more stock than they need for all their brands.
Yeah. That's all well and good.
Unless they expand into India.
Oh.
Or Asia. Just Asia in general. Unless that's their plan.
Honestly, I think a big part of that conversation is going to be what's the tariff situation, the
Right.
taxes and the
Yeah,
spirits,
yeah.
because that just can really cock out the economy of the whole
Yeah.
of the whole endeavor very quickly. Okay, we get more sourcing options. Great, fine, cool. I want sourcing to be more familiar and more comfortable to smaller, like mid-tier, and even some of the craft guys, because an independent bottling scene in the States that leans into the mid-level and smaller tier craft distilleries making their stuff available, that would be amazing. But the smaller
There are a
guys,
handful starting to do it, but it's very small.
yeah, the smaller distilleries, they don't think about their business model that way.
Yeah, it
They
also
don't-
means
they don't
that-
know what's involved in a transfer and bond. You have to really start from the super rudimentary. Dallas Williams, I just found out that my best friend moved about 15 minutes away from y'all on the
dang.
outskirts of Kyle.
All right.
It's right around the corner.
Just south of us.
I got so excited because I would love to visit the distillery. Can't wait to schedule a tour and come down. Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
So we are. It's a growing metropolis.
Yeah. This used to be out in the sticks.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
now
it
you
did.
look out the window and there's a lot
House,
of
house,
rooftops out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be tipping back with a little bit
I
of
know.
white label. Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight me, I fight for a friend.
You steal, may you steal your liver side.
And if you drink, may you drink with us.